Hi, and welcome back to Broadsheet Sydney Around Town. If it's your first time here, don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss a video. I'm Emma Joyce, Broadsheet's features editor, and I'm the host of this short guide to Sydney. Let's get into it. Now, Eau De Vie was once considered the cocktail bar in Sydney, and it had accolades. For about 10 years, it was known as a theatrical bar. There would be blowtorches, liquid nitrogen, and it was the place to go in Darlinghurst for a while. It's been closed for a couple of years, but Broadsheet's Callum McDermott has been to the new location in the city. Hi, Cal. What do you make of it?
Howdy. I thought it was great.
So they were really known for having extravagant cocktails. Is it the same vibe? Have they introduced other drinks? What are they offering this time around?
Yeah, it's absolutely as theatrical as it always used to be. I think the biggest difference between the old Eau De Vie and the new Eau De Vie is, well, there are two. The first one is that it's been updated for modern tastes. So the old Eau De Vie, as was popular with cocktail bars at the time, was pretty much all coffee table height tables. As with many things, also due to the fact that there's more of a dining emphasis at this Eau De Vie, all of the tables have been brought up to a dining table level. And that extends to the service in that it's primarily a table service bar, which changes a lot of the ways they approach the theatrics. And knowing that a lot of the reason why people go to a cocktail bar is that experience of the flourishes you see a bartender do and watching them do their craft almost omakase style at the bar. They've tried to replicate that at a table level. So the bartender will often go and finish your drinks in a variety of dramatic ways by the table.
In your story, you also said they had enough whiskey to sink a ship, which I like the idea of. Can you tell me, if you are into your whiskies, what are they offering here at Eau De Vie that would really bring you in?
Usually, because we're in Australia, a lot of the rarest whiskies in the world are quite hard to actually obtain and get into the country. There just aren't customers that will buy rare whiskies in sufficient quantities for it to make economic sense for...
You don't want to crack open a bottle of very expensive whiskey and no one's around to drink it.
Exactly. So there are very few, I guess, hospitality groups with the kinds of purchasing power that the Speakeasy Group has. And in the whiskey world, that's very important, as well as being well connected to the best bottles. So the Speakeasy Group, in terms of its overall purchasing power as a hospitality group, is just able to access the kinds of whiskies that even very well-resourced fans of whiskey wouldn't be able to get their hands on. So there are 500 whiskies at Eau De Vie, and that's just the back bar alone. There's a far bigger array that you can access via, the Eau De Vie whiskey app. So it has its own app. That's kind of how seriously they're taking it. And they've even got, in the back room, a series of whiskey lockers where this is a carryover from the previous Eau De Vie, and it's also a very popular format in the best whiskey bars worldwide. But the idea is that through the Speakeasy Group, they can purchase these very rare bottles that they have access to. And then the idea is that you have to go to Eau De Vie to drink it, and you have a certain amount of time in which to drink it. So it's a great business model for them, and it's a way for, whiskey fans to just access the kinds of drams that they'd never be able to get otherwise.
You mentioned this back room. It's somewhere that you can hire for a party, is that right?
Yeah, so there's all sorts of like private dining and catering options, but basically you can get the whole venue, you can get out that back room. They offer all sorts of formats. I don't think I'll be having my birthday party there anytime soon, but should your wallet be able to handle it, that's a great option for you.
We've mentioned the Speakeasy Group a number of times now, but if you're listening and you think, hang on, who is this group? Why would I know them? Can you remind us which venues they're behind?
Yeah, for sure. So the Speakeasy Group, Eau De Vie in Sydney was their first venue. Yeah, it's the eldest child. It's the favourite in a lot of regards. And off the back of that success, as you mentioned, it was the world's best new cocktail bar the year after it opened. They've sort of become just a sort of dual city, equally Melbourne and Sydney focused hospitality group that's really primarily well regarded for their cocktail bars. So there's Eau De Vie, there's Boilermaker House in Melbourne, there's Nick and Nora's over in Parramatta, There's a Nicanor in Melbourne now. There's Mjolnir, which is a Scandinavian-themed Viking restaurant, and there's one in Melbourne and
Thor's
Sydney.
Hammer, obviously.
Exactly. And there's now the Sanderson and new Eau De Vie.
What exactly have they done with the space that you feel like is an improvement on the previous Eau De Vie?
It's very much set up for a high-frequency cocktail bar environment. The Eau De Vie in Melbourne gets through, they make one cocktail a minute from the moment they open till the moment they close, which is...
It's a good stat.
It's a very high turnaround. And
so they want to match that PB.
They do, and hopefully surpass it. And the way they've done that is by creating a bar where the bartender is able to access more or less every single tool of the trade that they can within arm's length, which sounds like it should be industry standard, but absolutely is not, especially when there are so many particular tools to cocktail making.
I love that idea. If we could give you, I don't know, a couple of $100 and you could return and spend it on whatever you wanted to, what would you choose?
Anyone who knows me knows that I'd probably go straight to the tiki section and get involved with some of the rum cocktails there.
So you can find Eau De Vie at 285 George Street. Thanks for coming in and telling us about it, Cal.
Thank you.
Hey, Dan, you're here to tell us about a bit of news to do with Clayton Wells, the former head chef of Automata and A1 Bakery. He's also at Mod Dining at the Art Gallery of New South Wales at the moment. What's happening with Clayton?
Yeah, so Clayton has just been appointed the group creative culinary director at Public Hospitality, which I don't know if some of our readers may have seen recently. They're the same group that snapped up the Maybe Sammy group.
Yeah, that was kind of unusual, wasn't it? Like, they are a hospitality group, of course, but they acquired what we've mentioned many times as being that group that has a lot of accolades for being one of the best cocktail bars in the world.
Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, that is such a, power move by them. Maybe Sammy, yeah, it's internationally renowned. So having that crew in the stable now is that's a big deal.
They've got other venues too, though.
Yeah, so they've kind of also turned heads for kind of buying all these really kind of grim Sydney pubs.
Lovably grim.
Lovably grim. Some of them, though, not, I must say. The Camellia Grove, I guess, was kind of like a real fixer-upper. And they did a great job with that. Now it's like a really kind of refined sort of place, and it's got actually really amazing Italian food. And they bought this Strand in Darlinghurst.
So the group seems to be acquiring a lot of venues, and they've also brought in Clayton Wells, which is another big power move, I'd say.
Yeah, it kind of shows they're not really messing around. And, Clayton Wells, certainly at Automata, he basically, staked his claim as one of the country's sort of rising talents. And he's going to be bringing all of his experience to public hospitality. So
what does it really mean he'll be doing?
It almost feels like a bit like of a mentorship role. So he's going to be definitely supporting Nick, who is the group culinary director, and sort of just, really providing the creative vision for the group going forward, because the other kind of really interesting space to watch with this company is that they have so many more venues in the works. And I guess the other important thing to mention is that he's still going to be looking after Mod Dining. So he's still going to be there.
Mod Dining is definitely a great place to go to if you happen to be going around the galleries of Sydney at the moment. I've really enjoyed the different dishes that he's brought in. I don't know if you visited, but he's changed the menu as well.
And I also saw as well, I initially thought it was just sort of a lunchtime only thing, but they're actually open for dinner on Wednesdays. That's a great place to check out.
It does seem like it's not necessarily an expected move, because most of the food at Public Hospitalities Group's venues, they seem to be like tacos or more kind of pub snack dishes. What do we think that he will be doing with those kind of venues and those menus?
I think he'll be tightening up and refining going forward. I mean, they're all great menus as is, I think. So it'll be mainly to see sort of where they can go in the future.
Well, it's very exciting to hear that this particular group is opening up more spaces, and we get to talk about them later when they open. So thanks for coming in and telling us about Clayton Wells.
Thanks, Emma.
And that's all we have time for today. As always, you can keep up to date with what's happening around Sydney at broadsheet.com.au and at broadsheet_Sid on Instagram. I'll be back next week, same time, same place. Chat then.